Hey, how's it going, everybody? I want to do another video right quick. I wanted to I'll make sure they ain't too loud, but okay, I wanted to yeah, that might be a little too loud because I can hear it. Okay, what I wanted to do was I wanted to talk about an independent artist and record labels. How you can create your own brand as an independent artist, or maybe your own independent label, or basically a general breakdown of a record label itself. But if you are going to be an independent artist or be an independent label, we're going to talk about how record labels are structured. So you got to think about this yourself, and the difference between a record label and being and of course an independent record label is most of the time an independent record label have to come up with the finances to be able to do this themselves. Most people, this is where most independent record labels struggle, because it's very, very, very expensive. It can get up into the millions of dollars per artist. This is the reason why they collect so much percentage of the money back. So I'm going to basically generally go over departments of a record label. And if you are an independent artist, these are the departments you're going to have to think about. And this is why it would be so hard to do all this by yourself. Most people will see why you would need help with this. So, okay, generally here are basically I'm going to talk about these different areas. Okay, naturally, the chief executive officer or the CEO most of the time will be the person that's overlooking all these different departments. All right. And you could be, whether you're an independent artist or a record label, whether you're independent or, whether it's a name brand, RCA, Epic, doesn't matter. It could be whatever record label. It could be Arista, Jive, Def Jam. It doesn't matter. There are different departments that have to be managed by different teams of people in these different departments. The more artists a record label have, the more there are more people in certain departments. For example, let's break this down right quick. So try not to be very long. But at the top, one of the main areas that besides the CEO, this is the main focus of the whole entire this area right here, sales. This is their primary focus. Of course, they're going to use all these different areas to promote artists, but this is the main concentration of area that they're looking at. So in these, so we'll break down like this. A record label is either going to own or be established with itself as a record label. And most of the time, it's going to have connections with a publishing company. And the publishing company is where all the song catalogs from all songs recorded by artists are basically managed and licensed. So the publishing company controls all that. So most of the time, these areas for the publishing company in cahoots with the record label is the record masters. Basically, anytime a song is recorded, it's considered a master. Once the master is, who owns the record masters, and that way it can be licensed out for different areas such as videos, film, TV, and so forth, as well as sales. So there are 5 different licenses. I didn't really talk about them, but I talk about them in other videos. But whenever these different areas need to be used, these songs need to be used, they need to be licensed, such as, your mechanical license, which anytime songs are attached to, excuse me, anytime these songs are attached to some sort of media, such as a CD, DVD, doesn't matter. That's mechanical. You got your performance rights, so that allows these songs to be performed whether by the artist themselves or on radio or on whatever the case, or allows it to be performed. Then you have your print, which allows it to be printed on paper. You got your grand, which allows it to be performed in theater, and of course you have your sync, which allows it to sync to to video, film, TV, and stuff like that. So your publishing company, and of course, the department is going to make sure there's someone in this department to make sure that they're dealing with the PROs, which are performance rights organizations, because this is how songwriters and people that own publishing and all that, this is how they get paid, and they usually get paid from like BMI, ASCAP, or one of the PROs. So the other department would be the artist department and development. This is where all the artists that the record label signs fall under this department, and the artist is gonna they're usually gonna have an artist development department to basically, this department here is basically where they're going to help the artists develop their identity, to keep them going, to help them. And this is where all the artists are. This is the department that the artists are under when they're under a record label. They're under the artist and artist development, and they're going to work directly with their A&R, which is their artist and repertoire. The artists and repertoire they're there to link the artist with various producers, maybe certain managers like business managers, road managers, and so forth. But the artists themselves are going to be working in connection, whether these musicians, producers, the different types of studios, the different types of managers, artist managers, business managers, or whatever. Because the artists, when artists get paid, portions of what the artist is going to make is going to pay all these people. So sometimes the record label has its own studio, sometimes it don't. Sometimes they have to pay artists advantages to go to different studios, work with different engineers to create the music. And sometimes the artist, the A&R, will recommend producers to work with the artist. Sometimes the artist knows producers. It varies. It all depends on the contracts. And the artists themselves could be a musician, or they might be, or they could be the songwriter. They might be a combination of a whole bunch of things, or they might just be just a regular recording artist. And they have to bring in session musicians. They have to deal with different producers, vocal producers, song producers. They're going to work with different studios and different engineers and so forth. This is all working in direct relation with the artists themselves. That's why there could be multiple artists under this record label, and there'll be so many different types of musicians, producers, and different studios and different managers. Sometimes a manager could be managing more than one artist. Sometimes a producer could be working with more than one artist. Sometimes musicians are playing for more than one artist, and it just varies. But that's how they're connected. Then you have your artist and repertoire department. This is the A&R people. They go out and find the talent, get them signed to the record label, and they're the ones that work with the artists. They find them producers, managers, and so forth. They help them with song selections. They might talk with the publishing companies to find songs. They might work with producers to go to publishing companies to find songs. If the artists themselves don't have contracts or they have creative control to create their own songs, it all varies. So this is the A&R department. The next department would be your marketing department. Your marketing department is basically dealing with getting the artists marketed out there. They're going to mark them so they can get them connected with the radio. They're trying to get them connected to different venues. Anything that can help the artists get marketed out there to be seen. TV spots, commercials, anything like that. But they're also going to help them get whatever songs that the record label and the artists agree to go ahead and be released. They're going to make sure those songs, marketing's going to make sure those are connected. That with sales department is going to make sure that stuff is registered with SoundScan and Sound Exchange. SoundScan deals with physical sales like records, vinyl, CDs. Sound Exchange deals with digital. So they're going to make sure that happens. They're also marketing to make sure, their record labels, they get connections with the NAMM, AES, which is the Audio Engineering Society. They're also talking to Billboard. Billboard's going to make sure, Billboard works with Nielsen SoundScan. When sales are happening, they work with them. So marketing's working with them to track, because Billboard tracks sales. And as it moves up and down the sale, that's how it moves up and down the sales chart. That's where we just call it Billboard chart, you know. And it depends on how many weeks it's been selling in different places, whether it's digital or physical hard sale. So sales, marketing, and sales are working with that. They also marketing deals with the Academy voting boards. So, you know, when it's time for the American Music Awards, BET Awards, NAACP Awards, Soul Train Awards, the Grammys, all these different awards, academies, they try to basically cheerlead to have voting members to vote for their artist, for their record label, if their artist fits in those categories that's going to be for the different categories that the academies are voting on: best new artist, artist of the year, you know, best artist collaboration, so forth. These different types of award sections. So that's the marketing department. Your legal department deals with to make sure that the record label is protected. Make sure one is like it's a limited liability company and the LLC. Make sure they have their tax ID number. They deals with the taxes, the IRS, and so forth. They also the ones that write up contracts for artists and producers and so forth. They come up with these legal contracts, and the legal department is the ones, they have lawyers for the record label to make sure that the record label and these contracts that they have these artists sign, that the record label can actually physically, basically, come up with these contracts. So they also protect them for lawsuits in case they get sued. They have lawyers for that. So that's the legal department. Your next department would be your promotions department. Your promotion department is the one going out talking to radio, trying, get it out, for internet, and also help the artist for touring. So they're going to help the artists work with their road managers and booking agents so this artist can tour all over, different places that they can tour. So that's what the touring department's for. The next department would be your publicity department. Your publicity department is the one, and they work directly with the promotion department, but they're going to make sure, we're talking posters, billboard signs, memorabilia, coming up with hats, T-shirts, help the artists come up with, get them in magazines, try to get them in spots, stuff like that. They're trying to basically help promote the artist by being they're more like the voice for the artist. They're going out and talking to so if the artist gets a radio spot or maybe a magazine write-up, something like that. Then you have your media department. Your media department is the one that are working with the company, the record label, to, for the artists, if they're getting on, having them help them develop like music videos. Maybe they can get a spot in a film or something like that, a spot on TV or whatever the case may be. They're also going to, work, with the publishing company and PROs and with the licensing and things like that. So your next department would be the actual accounting department. They're dealing with the profits of how many units the artist is selling. So if the artist is selling 500,000, it goes, they're going to make sure that they track that so they can bring in profits, versus if they're not anticipating, if they had all these advances or whatever and their artist isn't making them any money, now they're going to take losses. They're tracking all that. They're also going to deal with payments, such as paying the artists as well as paying all these staff members under the record label. So it's your accounting department. They don't want to write the checks for, the CEO gets his check, all these departments get their check, and wherever else get paid. And then once all the payments are paid, advances are collected, all recoupments, then the artist can get their check. So, and one of the two more departments we're looking at would be awards, where the awards department is going to attract, they're going to work closely with these Academy of Voting Boards, with the marketing department and the sales department. The Academy is going to work, the award section. So Um, if the artist gets awards from different academies, BET Awards, Soul Train Awards, MTV Awards, VH1 Awards, if they're getting all these awards, they're going to collect awards on behalf of the record label itself too. So that's why you'll see if the artist wins a Grammy, the award they can get the Grammy can also go to the record label, so they get their copy. Same thing with the RIAA, which is Recording Industry Association of America. The RI is the ones that's how you get your gold and platinum award, gold album, platinum album awards. So they're working tracking with that too, because if an artist sells 500,000 or they go 1 million, 2 million, 500,000 copies gold. Their department is to make sure that they talk with the RA to get it certified, so they can become certified gold, because they validate that through sales. And this is come reports from the Nielsen Sound Scan or Sound Exchange, as well as what Billboard is reporting, and so forth from the sales department. They're tracking all this. They get reports. They also deal with that. And then it becomes certified gold. And if it goes a million, it becomes certified platinum, and certified double platinum, certified triple platinum. The RIA tracks this, so that you can look this up on every artist, how many albums they've sold, 1 million copies, 2 million copies, or whatever, 100 million copies, or whatever. This is going to be tracked by RIAA. The record label is also tracking that, because if an artist sold 100 million copies, trust me, the record label is very happy, because the sales department is ranking in the money, and the accounting department is definitely happy, because they're the ones seeing all the income coming into the record label, and they can pay. And then of course the artists, if they sell that many copies, after all their recruitments, advances, and everything, then the artists themselves can make a little bit money off the sales. But majority of the money that the artist is going to make is going to come from the touring, because that's usually how the contract is. So this is kind of a breakdown of a record label in general. These are a lot of the areas that, if you're new to the record business, this is where you see everything on this entire page is where you should be looking at, and what their function is, and who you're dealing with, and how it works. But in general, this is pretty much a breakdown of a label. So if you're thinking about starting a label yourself, this is the area where you need to be looking at, okay, if I'm going to be a record label, I need to be making sure I'm setting up departments, or having how I'm going to manage these different areas. I got to make sure that if I'm an artist and I'm my own independent artist, that means you're going to be your own CEO. You're also going to be worried about how you're going to be, developing yourself as an artist. If you're going to become a label, then you got to worry about making sure you have some sort of A&R department. Those are your talent scouts that go and find other artists that you're going to want to sign, as well as being an artist yourself, which is very possible. There are some artists that are also they own their own record labels, so they're an artist, but they're also a CEO. And this artist, you got to make sure that you're talking to the right musicians, the right, you're dealing with producers and different studios if you don't own your own studio. And you're also dealing with managers, business managers, road managers, artist managers. Artist managers, they work in the artist and development, help the artists develop their career, as well as if the artist isn't signed to a label, they help them try to get them signed to a record label. But you got your artist manager. You want to create your A&R department if you're going to be a record label. You're going to want a marketing department to, for, marketing different areas. You want to try to get them out there. And you're going to work with your promotion. Marketing works with promotion, radio, internet, and so forth. You're definitely going to want to have a legal department, especially if you're going to be writing out contracts for artists. You got to make sure you're in the LLC. You got to make sure you're straight tax ID number. You're going to deal with IRS. Make sure the IRS is getting paid percentage of the sales that you're making from your artists. You got to make sure that the IRS is going to collect theirs. You got to also be prepared for lawsuits, because if you sign artists, they're not happy, they're going to sue you to get out of their contracts, or because they're not happy, if they're not, they think they've been gypped in their sales, or, whatever the case may be. You're also going to your promotion department. So marketing and promotion can be the same department, marketing and promotion. Some people can have a separate department concentrate on marketing themselves. Another one deals with the promotion. The marketing setting up the artist to be marketed. The promotion's actually going out there and physically doing it. And you can have a promotion go out there in different regions. It used to be where you have 6 different regions within the United States, and then you also deal with your marketing as far as getting marketing overseas, because there are markets overseas, and you got to deal with the PR. You make sure you go to the legal department to deal with how PROs versus the ones that deal in the United States, how it pays their artists, and you also got to make sure how the PROs pay for international. So that has to work as well. But your promotion department, your publicity department, they're the ones out there trying to work with the media, and they're going to make sure if the artist can get a billboard sign on the highway or posters made up that, whatever the case may be. The promotion department is also talking to radio. They're making sure that the promotion department is going out there talking to different radio stations to get these artists on the radio. They're trying to talk to internet radio, satellite radio. They're also going to deal with streaming sites such as Spotify. They're going to deal with Pandora, iHeartRadio, so forth. And then, of course, touring. Basically, they're just there to talk to the accounting department, see if they got funds so the artists can have their road managers and booking agents, so if the artists can tour. And they're setting up them tour support basically by helping them create basically another advanced touring support advance. But all that's going to be recoupable. That's a totally different video. But that's what that is. So you got your media department. Like I said, they're talking to video, film, TV, helping the artists do video, with the promote their videos on BET, VH1, MTV, Music TV, maybe YouTube, setting up Vivo and all these different media and social media. So, and then finally, you got your awards department. They're talking to the awards academies and the RIAA. And then, of course, you got your accounting department. And then last, your distributors. Whenever the records are ready to be distributed or manufactured, and they're ready to be distributed to like Walmart, Amazon, iTunes, maybe some of these independent 1RPM, CD Baby, DistroKid, and so forth. Your distributors. And that's the general makeup. So these are a lot of areas that you need to think about yourself if you're going to be your own record label, or how a record label would function. And sometimes these record labels, sometimes they can function based on the successful sales that the artists, where the money can come in. Sometimes the money don't generate anymore, and they have to start laying people off. And then once you start running out of staff and personnel, all these departments start suffering because there's not enough people to man all these different areas to keep the record label. Before you know it, the record label either sells itself to someone else or it goes out, and all these artists are cut from the record label, and now the artists have to, on their own, or have to go get a new record contract with a new record label, or they have to be their own independent artists. It's so many factors. But this is going to do it for this particular video. I just want you to kind of take a look at this, and there you have it. So if you never thought about how record labels and why record labels do work, well, this is because they have so many different departments because the main product for the artist, the main product for any record label is artists. The more artists that are doing well in sales and everything else based on their contracts and all these different areas can be successful, then the record label is successful. So there you have it. And this is a very, very, very brief breakdown of a record label. So as an independent artist or record label, these are all the different areas that you have to think about when you're pursuing a music career. There's so many different avenues that you have to really look at, that where you could be marketed, promoted, and you can make, a living at. So this is just take a look at this, and this is going to do it. And I hope y'all have a great one.